Is it just me, or did this episode have more babies than a Justin Bieber song? AHS Double Feature just released its penultimate episode, and honestly, I don't know how they're going to tie everything together with only one episode left. But we're going to try to make sense of it all in this detailed breakdown, and this episode has lots of cool Easter eggs and details that connect it to the greater AHS universe. So pop a black pill and make sure to like and subscribe. Seriously, only 8% of you are subscribed, because here we go. We are back in 1954 with a top secret agreement in an alien language. And is it just me, or does this alien language look a lot like sperm? I mean, just look at this. This is the Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security between the USA and the Beings. It's what President Dwight Eisenhower has been struggling with the last 2 episodes. Whether he will give up American lives in exchange for advanced technology. But it's not as simple as that. Dwight essentially has no choice. If he doesn't sign, he risks the aliens giving over their tech to the Russians, not to mention losing his wife, whom the aliens control. And take a look at Mamie's earrings. Do they look like a bunch of pills to you? Dwight's signature also acts as blackmail. Should he renege on his promise, the Beings will let the American public know he went behind their back and put American lives at risk. Part of this treaty also includes that these beings don't exist, hence the veil of secrecy around the whole thing, and why Dwight will eventually move their headquarters to Area 51. A while later, the president is briefed that the aliens have already begun their work, abducting 3 people, including a 9-year-old girl. We'll later see this 9-year-old in the basement of the White House. Her name is Carolyn Gibbons, and as far as I know, she doesn't have a link to a previous AHS season. Fast forward 3 years to 1957, and the president hasn't heard from the beings at all, but they do know that 298 Americans have been taken in that time. Suddenly, the ground begins to shake, and a bright white light illuminates the office, signaling the arrival of Cody Fern's Valiant Thor. Valiant Thor was said to be an alien who came to Earth during the Eisenhower administration to warn of the impending threat of nuclear annihilation. It's kind of ironic then that Cody Fern plays this character, seeing as his character Michael Langdon was responsible for the end of the world in Season 8's Apocalypse. You may have also heard Eisenhower say this line,
"What the devil's going on?"
Funny, since Cody Fern played the devil in Season 8. Horror Story's interpretation of Valiant Thor sees him as a robot, so really we haven't seen any of the beings in their true form just yet, which is raising a lot of red flags for me. Thor reiterates that they aim to create a hybrid human able to survive on Earth, and he even comes bearing a gift. The being's first technology, an iPod. Well, it looks oddly like one, and considering we saw Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, last episode, I can't help but think this wasn't just a coincidence. It also has the same type of alien writing found on the treaty at the beginning. Thor says these devices will usher in an age of peace and harmony, which is pretty funny considering Facebook and smartphones have caused a lot of controversy lately for its hand in stoking division. Here we see Mamie talking once again about her birthday, and it looks like she's decorated the White House for Halloween. I love the witch in the background considering Sarah Paulson played a witch in past seasons of AHS. The president ends up hearing screams coming through the vent. He pushes aside some crates which also have the alien writing on them to reveal an elevator, one which takes him down 20 floors to a secret tunnel underneath the White House. This is where Thor has been conducting his experiments. I'm not exactly sure why the experiments are conducted on Earth rather than in those spaceships, but Valiant says something odd here, that Ike wasn't expected down here for a few more months. Now that either means that Thor has some vision of the future, or he was simply going to tell Ike in the weeks ahead. It's here the president uncovers these tanks filled with hybrid fetuses, and that the development of the perfect hybrid will take decades. You gotta love Mamie, who doesn't give 2 shits about the torture going on underneath the White House. Dwight tells her about moving the facility to somewhere more discreet. This will eventually become Area 51. This has gotta suck for Mamie, who's gotten rather close with Thor, and once again, Mamie doesn't care that she cheated at all. She equates having sex with this robot as no different than her personal massager. But do you remember that line in episode 7 where Mamie said Dwight was no good at keeping secrets?
We both know not all of your secrets have to do with national security.
Well, that seems to have something to do with Dwight cheating on Mamie during the war.
I was stuck here leading scrap metal drives while you were carrying on with that trollop in Army HQ.
This was her little way at getting back at him. Dwight suffers from what appears to be a heart attack here. Eisenhower did suffer from multiple heart attacks during his life. 5 years later, in 1962, Eisenhower is no longer president. He watches some leaked footage of Marilyn Monroe blabbering on about aliens. This is info she got while canoodling with President Kennedy. And and yes, I've always wanted to use the word canoodling in one of my videos. Nixon sees this as unacceptable and calls Kennedy, telling him to cut the pillow talk. They can't have Monroe or any of his other flings running around Hollywood and exposing the biggest cover-up in US history. I also liked how Nixon is enjoying a glass of Havana Club, which would have been illegal at the time due to the embargo against Cuba. So Nixon orders Monroe killed and makes it look like a suicide. We also get this image of an alien before Monroe is taken by the Men in Black. I'm more inclined to believe that this is a figment of her imagination and not an actual alien. A year later, President Lyndon Johnson is brought to Area 51. It's assumed he's president here after taking the role soon after Kennedy's assassination. Here we see way more of those fetus tanks, just like we saw in the basement of the White House, so it looks like all the presidents after Dwight up until present day have been in on this conspiracy. Back in what we believe to be present day, Troy is ready to give birth. You'll notice the location here looks oddly similar to that of the cooperatives in Season 8's Apocalypse. Is the cooperative actually behind this, or did production simply want to reuse a location? Theta is overlooking Troy's progress, and we do get confirmation of not only her telepathic abilities, but the ability to ease one's pain. Her powers reminded me a bit like a Jedi's. And Troy will need this pain suppressed, especially considering the baby about to be ripped from his stomach. These alien hybrid babies are contained in sacks and killed immediately if they aren't up to snuff. It makes me question why Theta was spared. She seems to be a hybrid, judging by her half-human, half-alien eyes. A tank is brought up where the dead baby is stored, and all I can think about are how these hybrids have a connection to water. Cal's baby, who we see at the end, has these octopus-like tentacles. Tentacles are shown throughout the introductory credits, and with Ryan Murphy talking about sirens being a theme, something is definitely going on here. Troy is brought back to the group a week later, traumatized by the events he just endured. He tells Cal, who himself is close to giving birth, that they'll need to find a way to escape, but Calico has to rain on their parade and tells them there's no way out. She implies that they are in fact in Area 51, and no one has escaped since her arrival in 1969. Prior to that, she was a Las Vegas cocktail waitress and prostitute, but she feels this new life is much more fulfilling. Here she serves a greater purpose, being a link for the next evolution of mankind. She also shows them the set of the fake moon landing, which I guess they just keep around for shits and giggles for 50 years. This fake moon landing was directed by Stanley Kubrick, who in exchange got to do whatever films he wanted to do at Warner Brothers. And I have no idea what Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were doing in a public Las Vegas bar when they're supposed to be up in space. We also get an explanation as to why the government faked the landing. It was their way to slowly introduce the idea of new technological advancements without raising questions. If people believed humanity could land a man on the moon, then almost anything was possible. Calico waking up alone is also interesting. When the present day group woke up, there was a bunch of them. Perhaps the aliens started slow and then ramped up their abductions. So Cal and Troy will do anything to ensure Cal's baby survives. They sneak into the moon landing room to cut the baby out themselves. I'm not sure why they didn't bring Kendall along, since she's actually studying to become a doctor, whereas Troy's hobbies include cocaine. Regardless, the baby is delivered and it's revealed to be this tentacle-like creature, and these teeth are absolutely terrifying. I wonder if this creature has any link to the bloodsuckers from Red Tide.
They make you bloodsuckers.
Either way, things do not look good for Cal. Now, I will be coming out with the final episode preview breakdown later today, so I hope you'll like and subscribe for that, and I want to hear your thoughts and theories about this episode below. Thanks for watching, everyone. For more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.